aren't expecting special forces. That's the point, Sergeant.
Transmit the clearance codes for Inferno Squad Chatter, an exclusive look into the Southwest Star Wars Legion community.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Arizona Inferno Squad Community Spotlight. I'm your host Keanu, and here today with me I have Kyle LaClair. Kyle used to also be in Arizona for a time while he was at school, and then he moved away from us after he graduated, but I'll let him tell you more about that. Kyle, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Kyle. I started playing Legion down in Arizona for about 4 years. And then more recently in this past year, I moved over to Florida and have been playing out here now.
Any other mini games you had going on before Legion, or is Legion kind of like your first?
So no, my first game I got into was when I first moved to Arizona for college. My roommate, Jacob, introduced me to a fun little game called X-Wing. We got into playing that. We saw a Star Wars Legion box on the wall and we're like, oh, what's this game? So we bought the starter box one day from 1.0. We flipped a coin on who was getting Republic because we both wanted it at the time. And I won that coin flip, which led me to playing way too much Legion in my life.
That is actually really funny. I didn't know that story before.
Yeah, we picked up the box.
That's the only reason Jacob plays droids?
Yeah. We picked up the starter set and went, okay, let's flip a coin. Who's going to get it? And we went to his dorm. We flipped the coin. I won heads. And then he bought an AAT to say that I don't get to play the game anymore.
Yes. Back when the AAT was pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's still good.
I'd still say it's good. Just
I don't see it very much anymore. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing before we get into the main topic is, what unit do you want to see in Legion and why?
Currently, there's two that I really want to see. I know we've talked about this one, but Cal Kestis is a big one for me. I want to see him in the game. It'd get me into Rebels and being a good excuse to play Rebels without, encroaching on the Rebels players' territory as much. And then also, more of a smaller thing, but I want to upgrade for Heavy.
Oh, yeah. That would... Because you could even just use like a regular Z6 clone as like Heavy, quote unquote.
Yeah. That's why I was hoping, and it may still, we don't know, but I'm hoping it comes out in the Upgrade Pack 2 or whatever they're calling it, with all the like hero in squads. And I was hoping for some form of unit that would do either an AoE attack when he died or something like that.
Oh, kind of like a self-destruct type deal.
Yeah, I think it'd be a cool way to symbolize, him being the last one standing, or when he's the last unit, he could do an attack or something.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. All right, so for our main stuff today, we're going to be talking about Kyle's thoughts specifically as Republic as a faction after this last update, and what list archetypes Kyle likes to play. And now, Kyle, you've been playing on the East Coast for a little over a year now? Yeah, so how's that been lately?
So it's been good. I have been playing in the East Coast for now 6 months, living out here. And it's been very different, I'll say. I have gone to 3 tournaments, 2 locals and 1 GT. Both of the locals at my local game store, I went 3-0 at and won.
Congrats.
Thank you. And then at the Richmond Open, I went to go see Will, and it was coincidentally at the same weekend that I was there for work, so we went, and I went 2-1, losing to Will.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and talking to you guys about that. That was like, you guys, play all the time, and then just at this bigger tournament, it's like, oh, I guess we'll just play each other again.
Yeah, for the audience, I play Will probably 2 to 3 times a week on TTS. And right before this recording, I was actually playing against him. I have never been paired with him in a tournament, though, until this last at Richmond Open, besides, the occasional top table together.
Because I remember there was a couple events down in Phoenix that you guys played a top table.
Yeah.
And I do remember a game where it was he rolled 3 crits on his ordnance and destroyed your ATRT.
Shot. It
One shot.
one-shot my ATRT. That was the
That's
only thing on the
rough.
point on recover. Yeah. Lost
Oh
that game
man.
because of that roll, and that was a rough one. But
All right. So with all these tournaments that you've been to, what lists have you been playing at them?
yeah, so the main one I've been playing is kind of a modification from what I ran at LVO this last year, which is it has Yoda, Ahsoka. I've added Bad Batch into it and Padme. It's running two clone infantries with shotguns, two marksmen with RPSs, a pirate squad with the long rifle, and then two Barcs, one of them with spotter uplink because I had 3 points. The other list that I more recently took to a turn, my last tournament I went to, I never got to play the custom Jedi yet, so I put the custom Jedi on the table. I put him with the charge, tactical, surge hit, lethal build. And then I also did the Force Adept that only taps Force upgrades and gave him Burst and Clairvoyance, as well as Reliable too. So I was just trying to go for how beefy can I make it? Can I see if this Jedi will just live every game?
I mean, especially with that clairvoyance, with
It's
re-rolling a defense roll is
yeah, it's kind of nutty. He died one game on turn 5 because he had to remove him from the board, or I easily won. I still won that game. But the rest of the list consisted of Rex, an infantry with a shotgun Ahsoka prepared, two clone marksmen with mortars, two arcs with medics, Cody in an ARF trooper squad with an RPS and duo, an ATRT with a laser cannon, and two strike teams. So it's kind of just a jumble of stuff I
right.
wanted to put on a table, which was really fun to kind of just take a step back from my normal list and mix it up a lot. And also, the ARF troopers with Cody, RPS, and duo is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, that's a pretty big dice pool to be throwing at range 4.
It averages, ignoring cover, but it averages the same amount of wounds into red saves as Bad Batch
Oh, that's actually
from
really
range
interesting.
4.
That's range
Yeah,
4 instead of range 2.
yeah, and that's accounting for Bad Batch having Pierce as well.
Yeah, and what I mean, sharpshooter will change that math when cover is actually introduced.
Yeah. It'll change it slightly, but you gain range 4 instead of range 2. And that was kind of why I want to run them, is we punched the numbers, and I was surprised. I was like, oh. Which has led me to a list I'm kind of theorizing on building and just haven't quite done it yet. Of Bad Batch, that ARF Trooper build, and then the Clan Kreese with Shock T as
Ooh,
essentially
interesting.
3 Bad Batch units that will remove something every turn.
It's a lot of points to sink in, but
Oh,
they
it's
will
8 acts for
survive a
sure,
lot. Oh yeah.
but they all average about one-shotting 5-man squads in red saves. So
Okay. That's I mean, if you can one shot a red save unit, you can easily one shot white save units.
yeah. So I don't know how competitively good it'll be, but it's something that I've been tooling around with just to put some fun things on the table.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with the Mandos coming out soon, it's gonna change a lot of list building for every faction.
Yeah, I've been slowly tooling around with them a little more, and they've been really fun so far. The highlight for me is seeing Gar Saxon get revamped because I do play some Shadow Collective, and seeing him actually be pretty good now is very fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think we're still waiting on to see if the new Gar Saxon can go into Shadow Collective or not.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
kind
there's
of
been a
weird.
ruling yet. I
No.
hope he does, and I hope we get the new Super Commandos in Shadow Collective. But
Yeah, the weird thing is that the Shadow Collective Mandos are called like Mandalorian Super Commandos, where the new ones are just called Super Commandos. So that's the naming difference there means that they won't go into Shadow
yeah,
Collective, at least for what we kind of know right now.
yeah, unless they do
This may
some rules
they
doc
may do like
update.
a little update when Mandos fully come out
Yeah, which I think he's mentioned is in 2 weeks. Next week, it's sometime really soon.
next week. Yeah, but this is more supposed to be talking about Gar instead of
Yeah,
Mandos.
yeah.
So moving on, we're gonna talk about. You said that you really liked having the units like one shot. Is that like one of your goals for building Gar lists, or is more like trying to be survivable in Gar?
Generally, not the one-shot route. I go for more when I build a list, I go for more something that can sustain attrition very well. In addition to that's generally more objective orientated. And I think this is what it drew me to Ahsoka Yoda so much, is the ability to guidance Ahsoka across the board to go cap a point they're not putting many resources on, or just being able to be much more maneuverable with the naked barks, has really led into being able to run much more objective list in Gar recently.
Elaborate more on that, because Ahsoka and Barks too are kind of not taken as much as I've seen in Republic lists lately. What drew you to them specifically, and why do you think they've been working for you?
Well, what drew me to Barks initially was back in 1.0 Legion, we had tournaments at Alpha or old LGS that Mikey would run the Empire speeder bikes. And I thought they were super cool with how fast they were and just maneuverable and mobile. So I gave the GAR equivalent a try and absolutely fell in love with RPS Barks for a very long time. Since then, I have kind of stopped taking the RPS on them just because it's a lot of points. I think it's really not that much. It's about 14. But being able to keep them under 60 points for a naked bark that can clear the board in one turn has been really good for being able to open up what objectives you can contest without really showing your hand as much. I think the same applies.
Especially with them adding the gun, they reduce their speed down to 2, which
Yeah.
hurts.
Making them speed 3, and they're there they can pick up strike teams really easily. They can go back cap objectives really easily, and they're just good at kind of being maneuverable. And I think that's what led me to Ahsoka, who has been in probably 90% of my list since she came out. Is that she's just speed 3 Jedi for 100 points. She's a really good cheap unit that can counter dive, or she can go kind of run to an objective and do her thing.
Yeah, Ahsoka. I mean, I've played you against Ahsoka
Yeah.
a couple of times, and Ahsoka is definitely a very strong piece, and especially you don't really love shooting at her with her mastery being, full deflect, where every surge is a wound back onto the unit that's shooting it. It adds up very much so.
Yeah. And I mean, generally it doesn't make a difference because math-wise it takes 12 hits going into her to get 2 wounds back. But when it spikes, it's really nice to just kind of put that extra attrition in. And then playing her with Yoda has been really fun because of the 2-pip. When you plan on diving her, you play the 2-pip. She has Relentless now.
Yeah, because she doesn't natally have charge or Relentless. So
Yeah, her 1-pip gives it to her, but I think that's much better as like a closing card for turn 4 or 5 to kind of just clear the 1 or 2 man squads that are remaining.
yeah, definitely. And speaking of Yoda, what about Yoda do you really like?
Well, there's obviously guidance, which is a really fun tool. I do really enjoy the mechanic of how he plays a command card, it bounces a different command card back, which I think allows a lot more expression in a way of, do I play this card now to get the other card back for the next turn? Or do I go play one of Ahsoka's cards or whoever else I have in the list? It adds that kind of forward planning, which was a skill I wanted to work on more. And I think he's really been fun to do that with. Importantly, I have stopped running Force Push on my Yoda.
Ooh, that's actually really interesting. Tell me more.
So I've started running Force Guidance, Jedi Mind Trick, and Burst. Jedi Mind Trick for the obvious reason of you can still throw 6 suppression on a squad pretty easily, which is good. They'll panic most things. The Force Guidance has been really nice just for extra surges either with Barks or with Bad Batch or whatever clone may need it. And it brings him down from 210 points to 170. And for 170 points, he's pretty good for how cheap he is.
Yeah, and especially on his 1-pip, if you do a recover, you can double Force Guidance and double Mind Trick.
Yeah,
because they're both free actions.
I mean, whether you're doing that or using it for the charge, I think end of the day he still throws 4 red Pierce 2, and you can do it twice.
Yeah,
like it's
for
gonna
sure.
eat through squads.
Yeah, definitely. And Yoda has gone through kind of a roller coaster of stuff, because 4, Guidance Trooper lets you give someone a move action. They can do a relentless or a steady attack right
Yeah.
after, but not anymore, which really granted him the points reduction he got because now he's only 150 points, and which is kind of a steal for what you get with him. And I think like a lot of people may disagree with that, but Yoda's very good.
Yeah, I think for 150 points, he gets his value pretty well. I do miss the guidance steady silliness because I used to run Yoda, Anakin, Bad Batch, and 3 Commandos, and
Oh my gosh.
it was kind of disgusting. It needed to go, which I hate to say, but with that points reduction he got, you can fit him in lists a lot more easily, which I like. And you compare him to things like Anakin that you hit semi-similarly, a little less, but also you're saving 20 points innately.
Yeah, for sure. And now, with these pretty expensive characters in your list, I'm sure your activation count isn't as high as most other lists right now. So what act count do you think is a sweet spot in Republic right now?
I generally shoot for 11 acts. I
Ooh,
think you can
still.
I think you can work with 10. I think 12's pushing it a little, but like the Yoda Ahsoka Bad Batch list I mentioned earlier is 11 acts, and that's with heavies on every single core. And I get away with that with a mix of the pirates, I think are really good. It's a long range Pierce gun. They've been really good to kind of just sit in the back, and when they need to get into action, they can. And then also the naked Barcs being sub 60 points. You can kind of fit them in for very cheap considering our cheapest act is 50 points, which is the Clone Marksman. So you pay 9 more points and you get a BARC.
And I mean, it's a pretty fast unit.
It's been really good to use, especially with how much strike teams have been popular with the revamp, because you can generally remove a strike team turn 1 pretty safely, if not turn 2.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that really helps, bring that activation parity down to where you can manage it a little better because a lot of lists have high acts because of strike teams. And I mean, speaking of which, what are your thoughts on the Republic strike teams?
I think the Republic strike teams are pretty good. I do think a lot of their value comes out of that defend keyword, which is very good for their clones. They can share the tokens and such, and being able to get extra dodges is always a good thing. I think strike teams in general needed the revamp, and I like the revamp a lot. I think it puts them in a very fun and healthy place. And I think it's a really good idea on their part to change them from special forces to a support tab. Because I know I used to run, them just to be able to act pad and be able to draw what I want more consistently.
Yeah, and especially now with them being support and you love running barks, it gives you even more supports to activate some when you want them to.
Exactly. It does make some units sad. I think I know in like the Gar Legion chat, there's a lot of discourse for Yoda when they were first announced because he's only 5 wounds, he's surging red, and being able to put a free wound into him is hard for the Yoda player. But I think it just you got to kind of play around it a lot more, and it's something you have to respect the snipers, but they aren't going to carry the game on their back. End of the day, they're 2 wounds for 50 some points.
Yeah, and especially the Empire and Rebel ones are white saves, so those barks can really eat them up. And ever since new strike teams have come out, I haven't really seen much discourse about oh, my characters are dying left and right because of these strike teams. I mean, of course, it's making us change the way we play because we gotta again, like you said, respect them. But a lot of characters liked just hiding to begin with and then popping out and going to do their magic. But now it's even more important to, if it's a force user, get them in melee, or if it's like a ranged character, making sure they can pop in and out of line of sight blocking cover.
I'd agree. And I don't think I've suffered as much as some Gar lists out there because a lot of the lists I build are more on the cagey side. They like to sit back, to then push later turns, and kind of once I have turns to attrition them, I'm then able to push much harder because I'll have more units remaining.
Yeah, and especially since I've known you, you don't really like playing hyper aggressive Gar lists.
I'd agree. There's
Not
a
not that
reason.
like, Bad Batch isn't an aggressive unit or Barks
Yeah.
aren't aggressive units, but they're more objective pieces than giving the example of arcs where they just want to run at you and get into melee and do a bunch of damage.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why I don't enjoy ARC Troopers. I think they're good, but I don't personally enjoy running them too often. And if I do, they're there kind of just to be the big dice pool you need sometimes to punch through armor or punch through like sleeper cell dodges, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And now we're gonna just keep moving along here, and been talking about the Gar chat and your tournament placings. Lately, Gar has seen better days competitively. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean you won't find success with Gar, but what are your thoughts on Gar as a faction doing not as great as before competitively? And what do you think can help them push that, 50% win rate?
I think besides a couple units or upgrades and stuff that need to go up and down 5 points, like I think Obi-Wan with the new Guardian changes should go down 5 points. Besides that, I think Gar is a very balanced faction. I think the other factions, specifically more so CIS and some of Rebels, is just slightly overtuned. I don't think it's too much. I haven't gotten too much play into AI, the new rules update, but so far they seem still pretty manageable. They just have much more tools at their disposal, which when you're playing a faction of the same dude over and over, it's hard to find ways to put in new tools.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, going through Longshanks, their tournament software, and seeing success with Gar, seems like a lot more newer players are the ones finding it to struggle. And so, what do you think? Like, what advice would you give to a new player coming into Gar with everything that's happening with the faction right now?
Yeah, one thing that I've stopped doing was getting very aggressive with my list, but being reactively aggressive. So they move a unit up, hence I move unit up. Being able to take the correct proactive aggression when needed has helped me a lot. Additionally, making lists that produce either more tokens or things that can just kind of keep units alive more. Hence why I've been running Padme recently is for the bolster. Being able to get that extra survivability has been very helpful because generally you're going to outshoot most factions, and being able to do that will mean you'll probably stay on the board longer than they will.
Yeah, for sure. And two search tokens that can be shared are great.
It's really good on Yoda's 3-pip turn because you give him the surge to share.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, speaking of bolster, I'm gonna go a little bit off and talk about the clone commander. I haven't seen him like at all since even the new edition change. And I don't think he's necessarily bad. He's a 60-point unit with bolster too. But it seems like, with a heavily contested commander slot, there's just better things to take for, command cards. And, like Yoda has great command cards. But what are your thoughts on the clone commander?
I think his biggest weakness right now is that Padme exists for cheaper points, and that of what you mentioned,
Yep.
the commander slot is very, very hungry. Most of our big units are in the commander slot, not the operative slot, which makes it a lot harder
Yeah.
to justify a 60-point unit that doesn't do a whole ton besides direct, which is great, and bolster. When I could fill an operative slot with Padme, sure I lose direct, but she's a lot more flexible in what she can do. And you get access to at least one really good command card.
Just looking back at the operative slot
Yeah.
for Republic, it is like just quadrupled in number in the last couple months now. Because all I remember before, it was just Padme and R2. And then, Bad Batch got kind of added in for a while, but now it's like you have Shakti, Plo Koon, the new custom Mandalorian Hunter, Hondo, Axe, Woes, the custom Jedi Knight, and now Anakin on a BARC. It's like there was a time where GAR players were like, didn't have many options for operatives, but now it's just they have a ton of options that can give them different list building, ways.
Agreed. And I think that will help GAR list building a lot. You're going to be able to veer away from the original trio of Obi-Wan, Yoda, Anakin, and be able to run, because generally you want a lightsaber in your GAR list. You're going to be able to run Shakti or Plo Koon or even the customizable operative Jedi much more easily and not feel bad if you don't take one of the main hero Jedis, the commanders, which I think will help Cody get more play as well, I hope.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Cody's a solid unit.
I love Cody. He's such a fun unit to play.
There's nothing really bad about him.
The issue is he's in the commander slot, and
that's the thing.
Seen in GAR is it's a lot of people wanting to run 2 Jedi, or they just don't have the points to fit Cody in there, unless if it's like a very vehicle heavy list.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like the triple saber tank 212 list will want Cody commander because he's just good. He's just good for that specific list.
I think Cody's very good in general. You can put portable scanner on him. You get 2 dodges out a turn. Run it with an ATRT, and I think it's just even that alone can be very successful. You just don't see him much when you could pay 15 more points and get Ahsoka, or if you really want to dump, you can get Anakin or even Bo-Katan now.
And with the new Jedi Council coming out, there's going to be even more lightsabers running around.
I am very curious to see how they actually come out. I know we got points for Mace, and we've seen all their command cards at this point. I am a little disappointed to see that they're only getting 1 command card each, especially since they revealed it right after Empire got their leader box, and it's full of 3 each. But the command cards we have are pretty
Not
good.
all of them had 3 each. There's
Tag has 2,
at least
right?
Tag has 2, and so does Tarkin. But they all can use the new High Command 2 pip, which is technically their 3rd, but not character specific.
I am curious how the Jedi Council command card will do, if it'll be any good, because it gives Danger Sense, which is really good on a Surging Red unit, but the bottom text of it, of when you spend a standby on them, you gain an aim or dodge, feels a little interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm unsure how that's gonna really play out well, but I know someone out there will make it work, especially because we don't know the points of the rest of the High Command.
For sure.
Or, the mounted Jedi General, and we have nothing about the mounted Obi-Wan yet, so there's still plenty of stuff left for GAR in the tank.
I'm very excited for the mounted Jedis coming soon.
Yeah, you can run more Barcs.
I can fit 6 in a list, and it'll be great. I'm very excited to run Anakin on one. I'm hoping he's, around the 100, 110 point cost, because otherwise I think he gets a little pricey. But I also said that Hantan was going to be bad, and then we saw his command cards, so you never really know.
And even just Han without his command cards is just a solid unit.
Pretty good, yeah.
So I guess we'll find out when they reveal more about the Anakin or the mounted Jedi box. All right, so we're running a little long, so last quick fire thing is what hot takes you got for me for GAR?
I got a couple ready for you, Keanu.
All right, let's hear them.
My first one is I think the ISP is very underrated. I think the ISP is a very strong unit, especially in Cody lists, but even just running them with the not beam weapon I think can be good. But the beam is so good on them.
I mean, yeah, even Worlds was won by double ISP Cody with the the rocket, not the beam. So, you know what? That's still no one really plays it as much as they should, I guess.
The next, I got 3 more for you.
Oh
The
wow!
next one, I know, I was ready. The next one is there's a change I want to see to commandos, and I don't understand why people disagree on me with it, and maybe you can give me your opinion. I think they should drop down to 75 points, and then their gun should become 15 points instead of free. I I want it for the sake of flexibility in the faction because we don't have that many units in comparison to Rebels and Empire. And I think it'll just let you kind of change how you build this a little bit instead of seeing a lot of the same stuff.
For sure. Now, I do think that that would kind of go against what AMG wants to do with their armaments, but maybe 75 is a little too much. Maybe like 80-10 as that split. But like,
I mean,
you never know. I don't think they're really looking at commandos as like
no.
oh, this is something we need to change because
I just want to run aggressive commandos, to be real.
no, yeah, sure.
The next
They're not bad at a range 2 unit.
Good. No,
suppressive, great.
Yeah, there's a reason I ran Delta Squad a lot, and they would run up and just fight at range 2.
Pretty solid unit.
The next take I got is about the Saber Tank. I think the Saber Tank shouldn't have outmaneuver. I think it should have shielded.
Interesting.
In lore, it is a shielded vehicle, and I think it just would play a lot more fun of, oh, do I spend this dodge now or save it kind of mentality?
Okay.
Rather than just dodge stacking them.
Yeah. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Like maybe like shielded 1 with like a recharge.
I don't think you give them recharge. I think you
Oh,
give them
no
just,
recharge.
Like, shielded 4, shielded 5, something up there, and they don't have recharge.
Okay, that may be a little too much health for the Saber.
Sure, but
you'd have to reduce their like regular health for that.
You balance it how you need to. But I would like to see
Sure.
them switch to a shielded mechanic. I think would be fun.
Okay. All right.
The last one I got is Commander Ahsoka. I genuinely think she's a top 3 GAR unit.
Interesting.
I think she's really good for especially the price of how cheap you can throw Saber Thrower and she's done. If you want to be fancy, give her O push for the free aim every turn. And improvised orders. Now that with the changes on it, she gets it back every turn, which is really good. But she's really cheap. She's really fast. I've had a blast playing her, and I think she's one of the strongest units in GAR, as the commander specifically. I'm not a big fan of her in a squad.
Yeah, I think her in a squad just kind of cements you into being the hyper aggro Garless.
Yeah.
Because then you run like, Ahsoka with the squad upgrade, and then you run a 5s unit with the squad upgrade and just have both of them charge in.
And I see a lot of people do that, and I get block is really good, but also your clones make surges normally, and you can run like Padme, and you have more surges if you really need them. Or you throw Force Guidance on her. I really like Commander Ahsoka. She gives 2 really good command cards with her 1 and 4 pip. And then the 3 pip, you can take it, you can leave it. I like it for the disengage.
Okay.
The 2 pip being a 4 pip that gives 2 orders is usually my opening play, and it's so good.
I mean, yeah, even having a 4 pip is just so good because, you go last, which a lot of things want to do.
And being able to give 2 orders on it is wonderful.
Definitely. All right, well, those are some pretty good hot takes. I'd say it's a little better than Will's. His was more like, I got like a more insight into the Rebel faction as a whole. This was like, the units that most people don't really love playing. You should play them because they're good. And I'll take that as a hot take, especially the Ahsoka, because Ahsoka I feel like isn't used as nearly as much as she should be.
It's really surprising, especially out here in the East Coast. One, I don't see any Empire players, which is kind of interesting.
That is very interesting, actually.
I haven't played against one yet, nor have I seen one, at least at my local tournaments. But Ahsoka, you don't see it too much. You see a lot of Anakin, Rex, a bunch of arcs. It's a lot more aggressive list out here.
And actually, Now that we talk about that, do you think that playing in Arizona and being more cagey has helped you be more successful in the East Coast where they're being hyper aggro?
I would think so a lot. Most of the time when I play a game, they try to get aggressive with my list. I'm able to remove a good quarter to half of it before I really make a good push into them. And then they don't have the firepower to really fight me back while I'm just pushing forward to objectives.
Yeah. It's really interesting seeing the different play styles between even, in the US. Because
For
then, like,
sure.
if you go across the pond, it's even more different.
Yeah. I think that's why the Barks have been so successful for me. Is I can go contest those points turn one or turn two before I really start pushing into them and try and not let them have too much space still.
All right, all right. There you go. Now that's the insight I wanted for Gar at this point. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy guy going 3-0 at your local tournaments. We'll see you next time. So this is Inferno Squad Community Spotlight signing off.
This has been Inferno Squad Chatter. Find us on Discord, Instagram, and Facebook to engage with our team.
Defiance will be the death of you.